Speak of the devil.
Okay.
All right, welcome everybody to our monthly budget meeting for October.
Oh, Harry.
We have everyone here, supposed to be here. So Lonnie, you want to, normally our meeting would have been 2 weeks ago, so but this budget that we're looking at, or this budget report that we got, is for
August. So it was in your packet, I believe, last time, and so if you've had time to look it over, of course, the cover sheet kind of gives you a snapshot of what's included down below in the detail. As you can see, our percentages, we should be at 66.58%, and you can kind of compare the percentages on the general fund, and every department pretty well is within the range of where they should be according to what we budgeted. And remember, these percentages are on budgeted amounts, and so anyway, and we go on down, and every other department is pretty well in line. Some a little under, some a little over, but overall, and at the bottom, of course, we're looking at 74.48% on revenues in all departments, and 61.04% of budgeted expenses. So anyway, that I think is excuse me, is indicative of kind of where we are and how we're operating. And so anyway, I would take any questions that you might have at this point. Terry, I'll make one point. Go ahead.
No, go ahead and make your point first. That's fine.
Well, you asked about the sewer being out of line last time.
Yeah.
And I went back and refreshed my memory a little bit on that, and there was a class action lawsuit against the chemical companies that we purchase chemicals for the treatment plant. Mm-hmm. And we were a part of that, and we got 2 settlements totaling about $80,000 that we were not expecting, and that went into revenue because it was totally related to the sewer plant operation, and that's the distortion in that line item. So
Okay.
otherwise, it's pretty close to what it should be, based on how we bill it through the water department.
Okay. I have 2 questions.
Okay.
One, I mean, the tax revenue through August is, I mean, it's very good. What do you attribute that to?
The only thing that I can attribute it to is people coming to town and spending money. That's the only.
But we don't know how much of it's inflationary, and I don't mean based on the inflation rate as much as I mean as what the local proprietors have increased their prices to.
I have no way of computing that.
I understand that.
Have no data that I can access. There may be some, however, from what I hear, there are people that are purchasing in the shops and everything anyway, they're purchasing more expensive items.
All items are more expensive.
Well, that's true, but I mean, comparatively speaking, they're spending more in the shops, and maybe not all items are absolutely more expensive, but could be. I don't know. I haven't been in the shops.
Yeah, well, that's my concern. I know that the motel people I've talked to, that they're not renting more rooms, it's just their rates are larger. That's...
Well, I have not actually talked to any of the hotel, motel owners, or actually the shop owners. This has just been the feedback I've gotten from different people. But if that's the case, then it's pretty universal across at least Northwest Arkansas, because the finance director at Fayetteville was quoted today saying, "I can't believe this, and how long it's going to last. At some point, it's lasted longer now than I anticipated, and at some point it's going to flatten out."
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that statement, but when, I have no idea.
We can't read that future, but then
So my point is, if it's here, it's happening in Fayetteville and Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, all up and down the court.
I'm grateful for all of us that it is, of course.
Absolutely.
My next question then is, when do we look at the budget for next year?
Well, that budget is yet to be prepared, and I will be presenting it to the mayor as soon as I get it prepared, which will probably be toward the end of the month. And then he is obligated to present it to you all by December 1st. He'll probably, I'm sure, as we talk today, he wants to get it to you before then, but that's the state deadline.
Well, I knew it was on your radar. I mean, I assumed that it was, and I just wanted to check and see.
Oh, absolutely. And primarily, the way we do the budget is the department heads, they do their budget, turn it into me. I put it together, make any adjustments that I deem appropriate, and then turn it into the mayor. And what I have to do, because most of the department heads have their budget in to me, but I have to go through quite a process to try to determine the revenue, and I have not had the opportunity to do that yet because of tremendous turnover and
Right.
different things in my department, and auditors wanting this and this and this and this, and the state auditors are about finished, but we're a long way from being finished with all of the audits. So I spend about 11 hours a day between here and there and here, and home and here, and so I am limited on overtime that I can put in. So do it the best I can.
Understand. I just was checking, that's all.
Understand.
Lonnie,
Yes.
do you see the water sewer audit?
Do I
I know-
see it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can we get a copy of that?
Well, we're a little behind. BKD, our auditors, are a little behind on it, and sure, there's it's no secret whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd love to see
As a
one.
matter of fact, it's because of the bond issue. It's posted on the I've forgotten now, the SEC Financial Clearinghouse. I don't remember the exact website, but it has to be posted. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, but sure, you can see a copy of it any time.
All right.
And they do actually 2 audits most of the time. They do what's called a single audit, because if we get over $750,000 in federal money, in any given year, grants. The transit money that we get back through the state is federal money, so that's included as well. And so there's a single audit that has to be done, and then there's the water sewer audit that has to be done. So they do two separate audits.
Huh, didn't know that. And, you know, I think part of our increase in sales tax is what's happened with things that are shipped. Now, everything that people buy online, it's finally coming around to where these people are collecting tax for us.
Well, that's true. There's obviously some of that, but again, I don't know how much. And so the only thing that I say every time I get these sales tax reports, and you all didn't have this last time because they didn't have it from the state, but this chart, if you look at it, it's got the latest numbers on it. But I just say, thank goodness, keep it coming. Because it's just unbelievable if you look at it and where we are here and what we collected in September.
Yeah.
And up 38.43% for the year to date over the previous year. And then you go down here and compare it to 19 when we're up 27.17% on 19. So,
Well, that can't be inflation.
well, I was getting ready to say, you know, I don't know how much, and Terry, you probably have a better feel for that than I do, but how much prices have increased. And when you lay that percentage on here, then that can kind of give you an idea.
Sure.
So
I don't have that. I don't know if I don't know if any of them will give you that information to where you can figure that.
well, I don't have.
They're awful proprietary with their figures. That's the problem.
That's true.
Well, I can say, though, I've talked to 3 merchants downtown. One of them is probably the largest retail merchants in the city. And I asked him specifically if he'd raised his prices, and he said no. And he's still having the best year that he's ever had, and last year was the best that he'd ever had. I mean, he's tracking similar numbers, 20, 30% increases. Now, the other merchants that I talked to, I didn't ask specifically about their increase, but they did say that they had the best year that they've had to date. And a lot of that, again, is without raising any prices. They're still going on the same, outside of whatever they're paying for, they got to pay and pay for their merchants, but they're not increasing, 40% on their products.
So I wish I had some better, more accurate way
I wish we did too.
to figure that,
I wish we did.
but I just simply don't have it. And,
But if you look at if you look at the numbers between 2019 and compare them with this, we're up $100,000 in sales tax. Have we gone up 33% in inflation? I know.
That's not, there's a difference between inflation and what people
Well-
raise their prices.
No, that's inflation.
Yeah,
No.
and
No.
I know my contemporaries in the lodging, I'm in tourist lodging, and, my friends in both B&B, and they said they've never had years like this. It's kind of 24/7. But you're downtown, do you think there's a lot of people? I think there's a gazillion.
Well, and the merchants, the merchants say that their businesses are up.
Yeah.
I have
I
a
just-
friend that has a very specialized business in town, and he also sells online, and he can sell the item online for twice as much as he sells it here in his shop. His shop's still doing well, he still keeps the shop open, but the online sales are just
Yeah.
bananas.
And we're also getting taxes off of those online sales.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to track how much we're getting from those.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not separated out.
So
that we
anyway,
did.
it's just a real blessing for us because quite frankly, I was working on some stuff today and was looking back at this time last year, and of course, we were beginning to come out of the swamp, but in April and May of last year, quite frankly, the finance director didn't know what we were going to do if things continued like they were, because it was absolutely a nightmare for me to think about, our sales tax going down 50% or more. And so, at any rate, we came back strong. I think we're strong now, and somewhere, sometime, it'll level off. Where, I have no clue. But apparently, people have the money, thank goodness, to spend, and they're spending it. So,
And like you said also, Lonnie, I think too, and from what I read in the paper, in Northwest Arkansas, the corridor over there is seeing the same increases, Fayetteville and Springdale, Bentonville area too.
exactly, and I try to keep up with what's like sales tax and that sort of thing, and but it's not just sales tax, it's housing, and it's building permits, and what you see in the paper, building permits are just unbelievable, and the development that you see and that I see every day coming to and from work in Fayetteville and Springdale. It's just incredible. So, I don't know. I just am thankful for us being in the position that we're in at present.
So are we.
Yep.
Do we,
Yes, Mr. Ott?
Mayor, I was on a Zoom call with the Municipal League Advisory Committees I guess it was last Tuesday, and they were talking about a $200 million opioid settlement, and that all the cities, when they get their paperwork in, will get a taste of that. Where does that money go? Does that go to like general fund?
Go in the general fund.
Okay.
These, of course, class action settlements that I was talking about,
Yes, sir.
those went in the sewer fund because it was directly related to the operation of the sewer.
Okay. I didn't, with this not being anything that we have in our budget, obviously.
No.
Yeah,
Well, you don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. Those are
yeah.
how those settlements work, or even how they're going to be distributed at this point.
Okay.
One thing that I might, and most of you all might know this, but of course I get sales tax reports and or the sales tax information and several different things from the state treasurer. And the other day there was an additional letter from the state treasurer in the email, and the Eureka Springs census that has been certified was up slightly from where we were before. It was 2,116, was that correct, Mayor?
I believe so.
And so I was really afraid, or not afraid, but concerned that our census numbers were going to decline. And of course, that would mean that we would not be getting as much revenue, our share, as we otherwise would. But so I think even though it's a small increase, it's very important that we note that. And if any of you would like to have that copy of that letter, I'll forward it to you. Yes, ma'am. I'll send it to you. Well, was that correct, Mayor? Was that 2,116? Is that
I
right?
believe so.
Because so many things are based on census numbers and everything, that we get our share.
Anybody else have any questions for Lonnie?
You better shoot low, because I'm going to start ducking here in a minute.
Just go on home. You did good.
I'm sorry?
So thanks a lot.
Oh,
This all looks good.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
I'll come see you about that sewer audit, though.
Okay.
Bonnie,
Yeah,
I don't think there's any reason for you to stay for the meeting.
I'm sorry?
I don't think there's any reason for you to stay during the council meeting, so.
Okay, well,
I know you got to,
I
drive
appreciate
back.
that, because I'd like to get home and
you bet.
everything, but I will stay if you need me.
I think we're in good shape. Nobody has any questions.
Very good.
All right,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Lonnie.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, drive safe.
Thank you.
All right, I guess we got a few minutes left of,
Let me say one more thing, Mayor, if you would.
Yes, sir.
If any of you have any questions, send them to me by email, finance.director@eurekaSpringsAR.gov, and I will do my best to answer them for you. Have a nice evening.
thank you, sir. All right, we will go ahead and wait and adjourn the Budget Committee and reconvene here in about 10 minutes.